So you said you're going to start with girls.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everybody to our episode. What are we on now? 10?
Oh, geez.
9?
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, either way, I'm Dally DeFay and my other host,
I'm
Lacey.
Lacey Giles.
My wife just told me, hey, you need to start announcing yourself at the first so everyone knows who you are. I'm like, okay, we'll make it work. But I just told her, I said, we're not professionals.
Yeah, it's a good thing,
So, but anyways, good to have all you tuning into this game. It's been, or not game, podcast. My mind's been all
It's
over
a
the
game,
place.
let's be real.
Yeah,
It's a game.
fun. But anyways, it's been a really fun week for basketball. Just a lot of good games played. Some good blowout games that, kind of was expected, but some really good ones, and a couple games that kind of went the other direction than was expected.
Well, some might expect. There was some close games, too. One or 2 point decisions.
Yeah, for sure. But, definitely a good week for basketball. Looking here, I got the rankings for the girls on Des News pulled up. The Tabiona Tigers, after losing again to the Rich Rebels, Des News still thinks they deserve that number 1 spot at 18-2. Wayne Badgers are at number 2 with 15-2. The Rich Rebels are number 3 at 15-5. Penguin Bobcats 14-5. Valley Buffaloes 11-6. So that's your top 5 on the girls' side of the Des News rankings. When you go over to the boys rankings, Des News has the Wayne Badgers at number 1 at 16-5, and I think they had the Rebels when we looked at this last week at number 1. But then they have the Rich Rebels at number 2 at 16-4, the Manila Mustangs at 3 at 18-2, the Valley Buffaloes at 4 at 10-8, and the Bryce Valley Mustangs at number 5 at 12-8. So that is your Des News rankings. Looking at the actual RPI, a little bit of a change here on the girls' end. The Wayne Badgers, they took the number 1 spot away from the Tigers, and the Tigers, they've been number 1 the entire season. So,
but when your 2 losses come to one of the higher ranked teams,
yep,
that affects your RPI.
Definitely makes a big difference. But I mean, obviously, the Southern Region tournament is a lot of things could happen still. I believe they have that this next weekend. So, yeah, a lot can happen when it comes to that. But, yeah, right now, the Wayne Badgers, they have took the number 1 spot. And then number 2, the Tabiona Tigers. Number 3, the Penguin Bobcats, still hanging around that 3rd spot. The Rich Rebels, like I said, they had a really slow season at the start, playing some pretty tough teams, but now that they've climbed up to number 4, they could edge into that 3rd spot from what it's looking like, but it kind of all depends on what Penguin does in this next week at their tournament. But as far as them first 4, my personal opinion is I think it's dang near set in stone, unless just some crazy stuff happens at that tournament, which we know it can happen. But I would say that the first 4 definitely set in stone, and then beyond there, different things could happen.
It's kind of wide open.
I mean, you got Valley still playing great. You got Paiute, who's just they have just been turning it on lately. I mean, I was actually talking with Coach Fabrizio, and he said the one team that you probably don't want to end up playing right now, and that's Paiute, because they are clicking really well.
Well,
right
and
now,
I think that could be said on the boys' end too.
Oh,
because
definitely.
they got a big win this week.
Yes, they did. But yeah, so you have the Rich Rebels at 4, Valley at 5, Paiute at 6, Whitehorse at 7, Manila at 8, Monument Valley 9, Wendover at 10, and then Milford 11, Escalante 12, Tinnick 13. But beyond there, we know there's going to be obviously playing games to start into the first round of state at home sites. Yes, higher seed home site. So,
but on those games, are they the weekend before the tournament?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
My wife was asking me this morning, and that's what I told her. And then after I said it, I was questioning myself. But this new layout might take me some time to get used to.
Oh yeah, I think everyone in 1A is definitely, because back when we played, making it to state, I mean, it was a good accomplishment, but it wasn't like the biggest, accomplishment. But now, to get to the actual tournament, it's you got to be good, and you got to be a good team clicking together.
Well, yeah, because the way they do it now, that playing game we're talking about, I mean, you could, if you have an upset there, say a higher seed loses to the lower seed, that higher seed now doesn't even go to Salt Lake to finish the tournament.
Right.
So it's no longer a 4-day tournament with a double loss elimination. I mean, it is still a 4-day tournament, but it's changed to where your double loss doesn't start until you get to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you lose that first play-in game, you don't go.
Yeah, so
Or I call it a play-in game, but technically it is the first day of the tournament, I guess. Right?
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, the actual first round that we're used to watching is at the home site.
Yeah.
But if you lose, you don't go to the tournament.
Done. Yeah, you're it.
So,
that's it.
So yeah, I mean,
So I haven't decided yet if I like that or not, because and maybe this is me being selfish from a fan standpoint, because I like to go and watch all the games. There's so many games to be played, and that's one of my favorite times of the year. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of money is going to be made when you have a bigger tournament like that. But obviously, the stuff that Richfield's been not wanting to have it, and Peoples has kind of not wanted to play there anymore, from what it's kind of sounded like.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people, fans and stuff, kind of wishing they'd move away from Richfield, and I've heard different reasons, and I'm sure it'll still be in Richfield, just not every year like we're used to.
Yeah. So. But anyway, to go off of that rant, we'll go back to the boys' actual RPI set. Sitting at number 1, the Rich Rebels. Like I said, we've watched them play 2 times now. They are the real deal. I feel like they definitely deserve that number 1 spot. But right behind them is Wayne, still sitting at number 2. And, Wayne, I feel like Wayne's kind of hitting and missing. They've been, obviously with the tragedy they've had to deal with, but some of the games you think they should really just take over and win, and then you kind of look at the scoreboard at the end of the night and you're like, wow, I'd love to know what happened in that game. But still looking, it looks like Peterson's still just been playing out of his mind.
I still feel like, in my personal opinion, that they're one of the top contenders to go to state.
Definitely. But yeah, so the Wayne Badgers at number 2, the Manila Mustangs at number 3, the Paiute Thunderbirds at 4, Panguitch Bobcats 5, Bryce Valley 6, Valley is at 7, Green River is at 8, Tabiona at 9, and then Tinnick at 10. And the game last night between Tabiona and Tinnick, man, that was a good game to watch.
Yeah,
and we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, just an awesome game to be able to watch. Although even though I don't know if it was happening with you, but every time something good would happen, the stream would shut off, and we was wanting to.
If I was trying to go to full screen, it would play for about 10 seconds and kick me out. And I ended up calling my sister on FaceTime to watch the last 20-something seconds of the game because it would not stay connected.
Every time we'd go in, we'd see a timeout, and then as soon as they'd start, they're like, what the heck?
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, that was a dang good game to watch, and Tabiona did end up getting that win. But, so that is kind of your rankings for the boys and girls this week. I know the RPI will be getting taken down soon. I haven't found out exactly what day, but that means we're getting close to state tournament time, So, looking here, the first game I got pulled up here on the girls' side. I kind of got everything organized in all the girls, so we'll start with the girls' end. The first game I got pulled up here is Milford and Tinnick. So Tinnick, they must have been playing really well that game because we know Milford is not just a pushover team, but Tinnick ended up winning 52-50 in that game. Obviously, it was close, contested, but right here on the stats, Underwood had 14 points, Farr had 10, Condor with 8, Snell had 7, Spain with 6, B. Underwood with 5, and Gout with 2. Do you have on max preps there or no?
For what are you looking for?
I just know. So Coach Canby messaged me saying that Snell had a
Which day was
heck
that?
of a game.
Oh, right here I got it.
I believe she had 20 rebounds, but I just wanted to confirm that on max preps.
So Snell against Milford, right?
Yeah, against Milford.
So max prep shows that Snell had 7 points and 13 rebounds.
13 rebounds.
That's what max prep.
Maybe
shows.
it was a different game that she was talking to me about. But either way,
we'll find it when we go through.
She had a dang good block, dang good game, and like I said, she said that the Miners had never beat Milford ever. So that was the first time the Tinnick Miners has beat Milford.
Yeah, that's a good win for Tinnick. Maybe even a little bit of a confidence booster for those girls too.
It's got to be, especially, and we know how it is. I mean, on Milford's side, McMullen had 30 points with 4 3-pointers, and then Wilden had 8, Dalton with 6, Pechtel with 3, Cedillo with 2, and Dalton with 2. So, yeah, watching Milford all year, they're a solid team, and to see Tinnick get that win, that was I'm not gonna lie, that was definitely one I wasn't expecting it, but it goes to show you, if you show up to the gym with good attitude, working hard, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely a good win for the Miners on that one.
So I was just looking real quick, and we'll get to it when we get there, but it was their next game.
Their next game.
Yeah, the one they played second in the week.
Okay. The next game I have pulled up is Wayne and Whitehorse. And the Wayne Badgers ended up getting them 52-42, and there was no stats on Des News, so I kind of went through and found the max preps. But on the Whitehorse end, Clark had 8, Begay had 5, Sam had 1, Chi had 8, but then Kiara Martin, 20 points in that game. And I was looking at on the Instagram page, looking through, and I found here, this comes off of that Parrot scoring page. I don't know if you've ever heard of them,
yeah.
but they're a pretty good page to follow. I like following them, but on here they do their little player of the week, and so I thought I'd just put on here because it's really interesting. But it says here, Kiara Martin is leading all Utah girls in scoring this season. As a junior, she has been dominant in every game, averaging 27.4 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 5.9 steals per game. She has scored in double figures in every contest and has topped 30 points in 6 games. Behind her leadership, Whitehorse is 5-0 in region play and riding a 9-game winning streak. Martin is the centerpiece of the dominant Whitehorse squad and will be a must-watch as they push for a 1A state title. And then on here, that Parrot scoring, they put, she is the first person to hit 1,000 points at Whitehorse as a junior, and then but there hasn't been another girl score 1,000 points in their program. The last one was 16 years ago. So I thought that was pretty interesting that she's that dominant and that good. She's kind of making history in her school. So.
Right. Well, and that's 2 girls this year to hit 1,000 points as juniors.
Yeah, and like I said, we already have discussed how hard it is to hit the 1,000 points, and these 2 girls hitting it as juniors is just crazy to me that they're that good. So, but yeah, I thought it would be cool to share that on Martin, because she has just been playing amazing all year, and like I said, she's the leader in the girls as far as
I think she has
scoring.
been the leader of girls for almost all season.
I
She
believe-
might have dropped to number 2 for like a week or two, but she's been right there.
But
So-
then, oh, did you? have
I was just gonna say, Martin, if you're listening, congratulations from us on hitting the 1,000-point mark in your career. And there was just a couple. I think that's. She was one of my top performers. Like you mentioned, the 20 points, 3 assists, and 5 steals. And I don't have it wrote down there, but it might have been a couple of blocks in that game.
Right.
Too.
So then looking at the Wayne Badger side in that game, Morrill had 5 points. Wood had 8 points with 8 rebounds in that game. So pretty good game for Wood. Jacobson had 2. Snediger had 5. Erickson with 4. Torgerson with 3. But then, you have A.J. Van Dyke, 25 points with 10 rebounds in that game. And, obviously we've said it before, she's an awesome player, and she is going to be so tough at the state tournament.
While you're on that real quick, just to mention, she was another of the top performers in the girls' side this week on my list.
She seems to be there a lot. So, the next game I had pulled up here was Bryce Valley and Water Canyon. Bryce Valley ended up getting them a win, 52-45, and being silly. Okay, here we go. On the Water Canyon side, Jay Barlow had 24 points in that game with 1 3-pointer. Johnson had 11 points with 3 3-pointers. Nilsson had 6, and Jessup with 4. On the Bryce Valley side, Vasquez had 18, Syra had 11, Barna with 11, Lopez 6, Meekum with 5, and Chavez with 1. But, it was good to see Bryce Valley get a good win. They've kind of been on the slower end this season with, they're only 5-15. For Water Canyon, slow season for them as well, but they've only played, I think, 9 games compared to everyone else is almost pushing 20 games, So, but like I said, it was good to see Bryce Valley get that win over them. The next game I had pulled up here was Paiute and Escalante. Paiute, like I said, I feel like they're a girls team that starting the season, no one thought they was going to do what they're doing right now. They ended up beating the Mokies 54-38. It's usually all the King girls in that game, but Randall came with 7. What we've been seeing in the last
I think so. We've been struggling. I was just going to say this real quick with her name because it is kind of a different name. I had, take it for what it's worth, but I had my smartphone pronounce it, and it's saying Fry.
Fry.
So I'm going to get with Whitley if I can this week and ask if she knows that name down there and how to pronounce it. But according to the Google on there, it's Fry.
Fry. Well, either way, you know who we're talking about. She's a really good ball player, but it was a little slower night for her. She still had 12 points, but it seemed like she's been really kind of more pushing that 20-point mark in the last few games. But like I said, Paiute, I already know, they've got a good coach. They're just a smart program down there, and obviously your game plan's going to be to shut that girl down. But 12 points for her. Jenkins had 8. Gardner with 8, Wilson with 4, Orvin with 4, and Carlisle with 2. So another good win for the Thunderbirds. And like I said, coming into the state tournament, I would have to agree with Coach Fabrizio. I think that Paiute team is going to be tough when it comes tournament time. And like I said, we got to find out where we can watch the Southern Region tournament, because I think it's going to be a dang good one. So
we'll have to check, but I'll bet Team Hive does a lot of their games, so I'm wondering if maybe it's going to be on Team Hive.
We'll find that out. And anyone that's listening, if you already know, get a hold of us in our email, or if you're friends with us on Facebook or have our phone numbers, reach out to us. The next game I have pulled up on the girls' side was Panguitch and Milford. And Milford, they came out, must have been playing really well, because they give Panguitch a game. Mm-hmm. And, there were times where I felt like Milford could have won that game. They ended up losing 56-54, so Panguitch got them in that, Region 20 matchup. But yeah, McKenna Owens, we said it before, when she shoots the ball well, her team's just just tough to beat. And that's when I first seen these stats, I was like, I really was surprised that Milford really was giving them as good of a game as they was, because usually when Owens has 7 3-pointers, the Bobcats are running away with it. And I don't know if this is right, but on Milford's end, there was only 1 3 made the whole game on their end. So, but between Owens had 7 3-pointers, Miller had 2 3-pointers, and Hatch had 1, compared to Milford only having 1 3-pointer. So,
I mean, that's a huge difference. You're talking 10 threes from one.
Yeah.
1 from the other. That's a 27-point difference just in threes.
Yeah, and, Owens with 26 points, Miller with 15 points, Hatch 13, and Edwards with 2. And then on the other end, every one of Milford's players was playing pretty good. McMullen had 19, Dalton had 16, Cedello had 11, and she was the one that hit the 1 3-pointer. BB with 4, Williams with 2, and Dalton with 2. But yeah, that was another game I was just really surprised to just see such a good game with how the 3-pointer was shot, because like you said, when you got 27 points rolling one side just off threes, usually that's when it starts to get out of hand.
Yeah.
But, Milford, I mean, we didn't watch the game to really know, but Milford must have just been, attacking the rim and just playing really well. So, but yeah, so a good game for Panguitch, and so that puts, I believe, Panguitch at 14-5, and Milford is sitting at that 11-9. So,
and I had those 2 girls on my top performers. Like you said, with Owens with the 26 points, and McMullen with her 19 points. She also had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 9 steals. So she kind of filled up the stat sheet quite a bit in that game.
Yeah.
And the 9 steals, she didn't have any threes from what it said, so I'm guessing some of those were able to steal it and get a fast break layup. But yeah, both of those girls made my top performances this week. And it's been a while, it seems like, since Owens was around that 7 threes a game. She's kind of been a little quiet the last few games.
About 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks since she's really shot the ball that well again. But it does it surprise us? Of course not.
No, and like we've said in the past, shooters go through slumps. It doesn't matter who you are, how good you are. You're going to go through a rough spot for a week or two, and you just got to figure out how to get out of it and get back to where you should be. And maybe she's figured that out, so we'll see what happens in the next game.
Oh yeah, definitely. The next game I got pulled up here was another good one, was Wayne and Valley. Wayne ended up getting that win 54-42. Wayne, they pulled away in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Buffaloes 14-4. Van Dyke just led the Badgers with 19 points. But Timber Wood, played really good, 17 points for her. Morrill had 6 points in that game. Torgerson with 4, Erickson with 4, Peterson with 2, Kay Peterson with 2. So, on the Badger end, Van Dyke's doing what she's doing, but Wood just really stepped into that spot, and I said this before, I really think Wood is a really good player, especially on the defensive end. I feel like she can definitely get her points off of getting in them passing lanes and then going the other way.
And she's one of their seniors, isn't she?
I believe so. So yeah, I mean, a really good game for Wood, and another good game for Van Dyke. On Valley's side, it's usually all Anderson helping a lot on the Valley's end, but this time it was Crofts had 10 points, Franklin with 8, Cox with 8, Anderson had 8 as well, but Brinkoff with 4, and Roundy with 2, and Jennings with 2. So on Valley's end, it was kind of an all-around game for every one of them. Not really one girl was really taking over in that game.
What was the score in that game?
54-42.
So I was thinking, because Cox and Anderson are a little bit lower on their points than kind of what we're used to seeing. So, had they had a normal night, that could have been a much closer and even a swing in that game.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so another good win for the Badgers over Valley. The next game I got pulled up here is, the game that we was saying the game of the week. But it kind of got out of hand for the Taviona Tigers going up to play the Rich Rebels. The Rebels ended up getting them 55-43, but at one time they was down, I want to say almost 20,
yeah,
wasn't they?
Somewhere between 15 and 20. They got down quite a bit.
I just felt like they just kind of got in a slump and they couldn't get out. And I mean, there was a little bit of foul trouble for sure. But still, our girls I think they fell into that three-point shot way too much.
Well, and I think there were several, what I'm going to call bonehead mistakes, silly turnovers that shouldn't have happened in a situation where, you got to be more on point. There were several missed layups. Joy from the 3 did not shoot the ball well at all in Rich. Bella came out strong when the game first started. She had 8 points in the first quarter, and I thought, okay, we're going to make a game out of this. It's going to be pretty good. And then she just went cold. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I don't think she hit another 3 the rest of the game. She may have, but she just got really cold after that first quarter.
Well, looking at her stats, it says she has 3 3-pointers with 13 points, and Bella was the high scorer.
So she must have hit one more after that then. But I know she shot several and just couldn't get them to fall.
And that was kind of the main thing Coach Fabrizio was talking about. He says, if you want to be a championship team, you can't shoot that many 3-pointers. He says you got to find a different way of scoring. Yeah. And that was kind of the big emphasis he was kind of putting on his team. Like, he loves the 3-ball, at certain times. But he says when you fall in that slump, and you shoot, 27 threes in a game and you're only shooting, 14%, you have to find a different route to score. And I think that is one thing he's definitely going to work on with his girls is trying to get his girls to do something besides just always launching threes, especially when they get that pressure that they're down,
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how it is when you're being down, you're just like, oh, we need to get some threes. But, 2s add up just as much as a 3 does in a lot of ways.
Well, especially if you're able to get some stops on the other end, chip away 2 at a time. But there were some times when they did get inside, but they just blew the layup.
Yeah.
So they just kind of overall struggled. I'm sure there was a lot of emotions in that game, a lot of maybe players playing some head games with themselves, knowing the situation of the game, and the stakes of the game. So, a lot of things could have went different for the Tigers, but that's not to take anything away from the Rebels either, because they played a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah, they played way solid. Just to finish out the stats on the Tigers, Joy Giants had 10 with 1 3-pointer, and that's why I said that goes to show you she is not shooting the ball to her potential that game, because only 1 3 for Joy is,
And she shot several too. So.
Yeah, very rare. And then All Red had 1 3. She had 8 points. Fabrizio had 7. Hagman with 4. Cadence Pippi had 1. So, right there, even Chloe Pippi didn't really get much rolling. And usually she's one in there putting up some numbers for the Tigers, too.
Chloe was in foul trouble for a good portion of the game, though. She's one of them that ended up fouling out. I think her, KP, and Bella all fouled out of that game.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of stuff that you can't control, but like I said, a lot of things you could control too. And I think a lot of times players don't understand, like, when the ball goes through the hoop, it allows you to get back on defense and set yourself up so you're not kind of in that, I don't know, I call it junk ball, because that's usually when you get your dumb fouls, is when you're kind of in that junk ball, where you accidentally run into someone or something, you get them silly fouls. So,
or even just a lot of, and not just for the Tigers, you see this in a lot, boys and girls, a lot of silly fouls. Once the team has the rebound, and you've got 2 or 3 other girls up there swatting at it, trying to get rid of it, or trying to get it out of their hands, and one of two things happens. They either get a silly foul 80 feet away from the basket they shouldn't have got, or they get burned because they've got too many girls, so the other team will throw it up, fast break, and score. So it's just, and I don't know, every coach is different. Maybe there's some girls that are good at swiping that ball, some boys that are good at swiping it, but my mentality is if they have the rebound, you need to get back. Get back, like you said. Get back, get set up, and work on the defensive end instead of getting a stupid foul that far away.
Because, them stupid fouls, they add up come the end of the game. But, looking at the stats on the Rich Rebels, Weston just played just great in that game. 18 points for her with 2 3-pointers. Smith played really well. 12 points for her. Morse with 9. Pugmire, kind of a little slower night for her.
She was also in some foul trouble too.
But she, she still finished the game with 8 points. McKinnon had 6 and Wooden had 2. So, but I think everyone was definitely expecting it to be a lot closer game on paper, unless you really watched it. It was one of them games where you kind of had to watch it and understand what was going on. But, if the Tigers would have shot the 3 a little, even hit 3 or 4 more than they did, it could have been a completely, totally different outcome. You never know. But yeah, I definitely think if these two teams maybe match up in the state tournament, like I said, it all kind of depends on the RPI. There for a minute, it was looking like these two teams would probably match up in the semis, but now that the Tigers have dropped down to second, if the Rebels stay in that 4 seed, it could be looking farther down the line. But like we said before, you can't just walk into that tournament thinking you're going to get to the semis either. Like, every one of these girls teams and boys teams are solid this year.
Once the tournament starts, the record and the rankings all should wipe away in your mind. It shouldn't even be up there because everybody's going there, in my opinion, at a 0-0 record.
Amen. And I hope that everyone has that attitude. Even these lower tier teams that, haven't been getting looked at as much, they need to do, just like you said, they need to go in there 0-0 and, work their butts off.
Well, you'll find out which ones do when you go there and watch them.
Yep.
You'll be able to tell which ones have forgot about the regular season and are focused on that 4/3 day in Salt Lake tournaments.
Right. But yeah, so, good win for the Rebels over the Tigers. That's the only 2 losses that the Tigers have taken. But yeah, so a good game. The next game we got pulled up here is this was a really good game as well. Manila barely beat Wendover 59-58. Region 22 game. Cassie Wall, she led with 25 points, while, Du Bois, usually we've been talking about Hicks, but Du Bois, she led Wendover with 23 points with 2 3-pointers. So, lost my train of thought here. But yeah, we're usually used to seeing Hicks kind of do most of the scoring and the rebounding and different things. But, Hicks, she still had 15. I'm not taking anything away from her, but it was nice to see Du Bois up there with 23, and that's what we said kind of before. With Wendover, Hicks. It's usually kind of been Hicks and Alvarez, but it was nice to see Cobbles get 10 points. Hicks has 15. Du Bois 23. Alvarez had 6. Stewart with 2, and Hernandez with 2. So, like we said before, I think if Wendover can get them other girls, involved a little more to take that pressure off of Hicks.
Well, and I think for the past few weeks, Alvarez has not been her normal self as far as numbers go, and playing. She's kind of, I think that's one thing that's affected Wendover is she's not playing how we know she's capable of playing. She's not putting up the numbers that we know she can. So obviously that's going to hurt a little bit too, And like I said, I think you had, when we went over it earlier, I think they're in number 10 as far as the seeding goes. So they're by no means out of it, I mean, they're still, I think, going to be a competitive team at the tournament as long as they win that play-in game to get there. But they're going to need a little bit more out of Alvarez to push even further.
Right.
Because Hicks can't do it on her own. And I'm not saying she does, but she's going to need some help from all these other girls, including Alvarez. She needs to get back up to that level she's used to being at.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why, like I said, I think that's the reason they really played with Manila like they did. On Manila's end, Cassidy Wall, 25 points. Only one three-pointer for her. Pendleton, 10 points with a 3. Browning had 10 points with 2 3-pointers. Potter had 5 points with 1 3-pointer. And Gibson had 4. Davis with 4. And Olsen with 1. So...
And I read somewhere, I can't remember where, but I think Browning's 2 threes, if I read it right, came late in the game. They were kind of big, critical threes to help them hang on from what I was reading.
But yeah, so, a good win for Manila, but, it was a really good game, looked like. So, the next game I have pulled up here is Valley and Paiute. Paiute ended up getting Valley 50-45, and this is one of them games where I said, Paiute's clicking. They really are. That was a Region 20 matchup. This was one where I don't think I had Paiute's stats unless they've maybe put them on.
They didn't put them. They don't put them on Max Prep. I think I looked too and couldn't find anything.
So the only stats I have is on Valley's end. Cox had 11, Roundy had 7, Jennings had 7. Crofts had 7, Brinkerhoff had 6, Franklin had 4, Anderson with 2, and Harris with 1. So, but yeah.
What day was that on? It was Paiute and Valley?
Yes. But yeah, so the only stats that I could find was on Valley. I couldn't find Paiute's stats, but... Maybe they've uploaded them since we're up here.
Yeah, no, there's still nothing.
Nothing. Well, I'm sure King was involved, It seems like she's just been playing great. So, the next game I had put down here was Manila beat Al. And I kind of just wanted to put this game down, too, because, Manila beat them 49-34. But Cassidy Wall, just another... solid performance from her. 24 points with 4 3-pointers. Behind her, Potter had 9 with 1 3-pointer. Browning had 8. Pendleton with 3 and Davis with 3. But yeah, Wall, she's just been playing consistent all year too. I feel like we haven't been really giving her the credit like she really deserves either. I mean, she's been in the 20 plus points, I think, all season.
Quite a bit for sure.
So, if she listens to this podcast, I hope she realizes that, when we see her name, we understand how good she really is, and we're really looking forward to watching her too.
Well, I know when our girls went there, she was kind of the main focus of the game plan, how to contain Wall.
Right.
So she's, I was going to see if it was... It's not going to give me her average here. I was just kind of wanting to see what she averages for points, but it just gives me her total.
Is she in your top 10
for maybe.
For points? I'm sure she's got to be, because she's been just up in that, like I said, that upper 20 dang near every time.
Oh yeah,
I look
she's
at
right
her
there.
games.
She's number 2.
Yeah, see, number 2. So
21.8 a game.
So we talk about Kiara Martin, and she's at what,
25.1.
She's at 25, and so Cassidy Wall right behind her at 21.
Well, and I mean Cassidy Wall, she's at 21.8, and Van Dyke is 21.4. And we know what Van Dyke's been doing all year. So yeah, Wall, and there's only a game difference. Wayne's played 18, Manila's played 17. So. Yeah, Wall is right up there. I mean, she's shooting 25% from the 3. But, I see something right here. That's kind of surprising for where she can shoot the ball. Her free throw percentage is only 57%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would expect
Maybe
that to
kind
be a
of-
little bit higher, but 38% from the field, so from the field, 2-point field goals and 3 points, she does okay in her percentage, but that free throw for some reason is down there.
Well,
quite a bit.
hopefully she understands that and she's putting in the time right now to get ready for the tournament. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to put out there, Cassie Wall has just been playing awesome. Because I know we haven't really talked about her a ton, but yeah, she's definitely the real deal from what her stats look like, and she's one I'm excited to watch when they come to Tabby for the last home game. So definitely gonna be watching her. On the Altamont side, Miles had 12 points, Farr had 6, Luna with 5, Bywater with 5, and Thacker had 4. And then the last game I got here, I'm pretty sure it's the last game I got before I go to the boys, is the Taviona Tinnick game. The main reason I kind of wanted to bring this one up, I think we had stats, yeah. So Chloe Pippi had 7 points, Allred had 1. Giants, that is Bella, yeah. I get that mixed up whenever I see that. Yeah, Isabella. She had 11. But, I just wanted to put out here that Joy Giants had 26 points, but she had 8 3-pointers, and that broke the Tigers school record for 3-pointers made in the game, and
for girls.
For girls. And I know the Skya was the record holder with 7 back in 2007, and that's my sister. So to see Joy hit 8, it impresses me every time I see a post or something about her. But yeah, it goes to show her that she can shoot the ball so well.
It's crazy because we just talked about the Rich game where she only hit 1 out of, I'm gonna guess, 7 or 8 at least, maybe 6, 7, somewhere in there. She shot a few. Boy, the younger kids will like what I just said there. 6, 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she has a tough night in Rich, only making 1 3, and then she comes back the next night and hits 8. So it leads me to believe that there's a little bit of a mindset issue.
It has to be.
Mental preparation for games and try to just stay in your zone and not let emotions get to you. I'm not saying that's the case. That's just kind of what it appears to be to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that game. The Tigers did handle Tinnick 54-38. A lot of that due to the pressure that the Tigers just can put on in the full court setting. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to congratulate Joy, on hitting those 8 threes. Kind of putting herself in the books at Taviona High School. So.
And she's not done either. She's only a junior, so
yep. So
who knows what could happen between the rest of this year and next year.
So just wanted to say good job, Joy. That's awesome. So now I can move over to the boys' side unless you
I've got a couple others of the top performers, the games we didn't cover. I did put Joy as one of the top performers this week in that game you just went over. Another game, Riley Fry, I guess is what we're going with for now. You had talked about that one game. She was a little lower. She's been a little, when they played Green River, she had 33 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 10 steals. So I had her in the top performer. And then the other one that I've got here is Hannah Clark from Whitehorse. When they played Escalante, she had 19 points and 10 assists. So, like I've said before, the reason I picked that one as one, obviously the 19 points, but I love the assist column when it stacks up like that.
Right.
And I seen that she had 10 assists, so I felt like that's one I wanted to pick for this week because I love it when, I love a good assist, and when I see them pile up, that's one of my favorite stats. So, but that's, I think, let's see, we covered Owens, McMullen. Yeah, that's all of my girls' top performers for the week.
Well, perfect. Rolling into the boys' side, we'll start with Bryce Valley and Milford. Bryce Valley got them 63-40. Looking at their stats, Shanoff just an insane game. I got him here, 27 points with 8 3-pointers. Mm-hmm. So just a phenomenal game from him.
And he had 6 rebounds, an assist, and 4 steals to go with those. Yeah, that was one of my boys' top performers.
He just played just so well that game. Behind him, Lopez 12 points, Perez 7, Sire at 5, A Sire at 4, Moreno with 4, and Gray with 4. And looking at the Mustangs, with the first of the season, it was kind of all Sire. But now, these other boys have definitely stepped up and are filling the column in. So it's good to see that. I think it's good for Bryce Valley that, one kid ain't trying to do it all it kind of was at the first of the season. But looking at the Milford side, oh crap, I covered up the points here. Do you have their stats on that side?
For Milford?
Yeah.
I can get it while you're going over, if you got something else.
I got the assists and the steals, but I don't have the points and the rebounds.
Let's see. Oh, I got to switch to
But it looked here like Sullivan, he had 5 steals. Barnes had 3 steals in that game. Merriweather had 2 steals in that game, and Spalding had 2 steals in that game.
So, let's see. For Milford, it looks like Saavedra had 15. Ice Barnes had 8. Boston Sullivan with 11. And Slade Kessler with 6.
There you go. Yeah, on my screenshot there, I cut off their points. Yeah. I must have got looking at the assists and didn't realize.
It happens.
But either way, looking at that game, a good win for the Mustangs. Moving on to the Paiute Wayne, and this was a dang good game, 53-50. Paiute ended up getting that win. I'm just gonna read this thing that Des News put up here. It's pretty good, but it says Paiute rallied in the fourth quarter to edge out Wayne's 53-50 in a Region 20 matchup. Blake Gleave led the Thunderbirds with 18 points, including a crucial performance in the final period. Wayne's Blake Peterson scored 24 points, including 2 3-pointers, but it wasn't enough to hold off Paiute's surge. Hunter Robbins also contributed with 10 points and 2 3-pointers for the Badgers. But yeah, right there. Gleave 18 points, Myers 12 points, Montague 11 points, Eliason 8, and G. Eliason with 4 on Wayne's end. Peterson 24 points, and we've said this all year. Peterson's he's just a ball player. He has just been doing it all over. So,
well, and the big thing for the Thunderbirds, that game was on the road, so they went to Wayne and was able to get that win. So when I said earlier they got a big win this week, I mean, to beat, Wayne, who has been for part of the year at the number 1 spot on the boys' side, to go to Wayne and beat them is quite an accomplishment.
Oh, yeah. Robbins had 10, and I didn't have the rebounds unless you can bring that up. Martinez had 7, Jackson with 6, Brown with 2, and Hallows with 1.
On the rebounds?
Yeah, Desnews they never have rebounds on the Desnews.
So it looks like for Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Martinez he led the team with 7 rebounds. Hunter Robbins had 5, and then there were several players with 2 or 3 rebounds.
So kind of a slow night for Robbins on the rebounding end, then, for sure. Paiute must have had a good game plan.
I mean, he did have 4 blocks, but
keep him off the boards then. But like we said before, Coach Jessen been in the game a long time, and
he's getting down to crunch time too.
Yeah,
he knows it. So
he put some good game plans together. So the next game I have here is White Horse beat Milford 58-57. So this was a good. I know we haven't talked about White Horse's boys a whole lot, but it was good to see White Horse get a win. I didn't have their stats on this game. I have Milford's stats, but I didn't have the Raiders' stats. But
they've got them right here. All they put in was points. But let me make sure I have the right game. White Horse Milford, correct?
Yep.
So Tyrell Black had 20, leading all scorers for White Horse. Adam Joe with 13. Hyatt Thomas with 11. Elam Etsity with 10, and Caden Lansing with 4.
And then on Milford's side, Barnes, he led the Tigers with 18 points and 4 3-pointers. Kessler had 12 points. Merriweather had 11 points with a 3. Saavedra had 6, Lambeth had 6 with 2 3-pointers, and Spalding had 4. But like I said, White Horse, little more on. Well, it says they're 7-13, but we don't know some of the out of state teams they play,
which has been the bulk of their schedule.
Yeah, so but a good win for them over the Tigers. So the next game I have pulled up here is the Rich Rebels and the Tabiona Tigers. So in this game, I was so glad to see the boys showed up with just we call it the heart of the tiger, I guess is what you'd say, but just willing to go up there, because I definitely feel like when the Rebels came to Tabby, everyone it kind of felt like they just already accepted defeat. It was kind of just that no energy in the boys, but this time it was different. They went up to Rich, and it was a ball game that first half. They went into halftime only down 3 points.
Yep.
And they was just playing so well. Near the end, well, it kind of came out of that second half. Rich just kind of went on a run there, and our boys kind of they just had a few, I guess you'd say, brain farts, whatever, with some silly turnovers, different things. But it was so awesome to watch that game, and
and I think they held Lundgren to only, I'm sure you've got him, but I think he only had 14.
Yeah, compared to his
27 here in Tabby.
I think so. But still, so I just want to, you Tabby boys that listen to the podcast, I want you guys to know that, if you're going to compete and just be great at life, you always got to show up and try and want to win and be successful in whatever you're doing,
Well, and that, a lot of us up here in Tabby, we talk about this all the time, off camera or whatever, but if some of these boys knew that, like, how bad a lot of us wanted to see them succeed, how bad we wanted them to win, because sometimes it feels like we want them to win more than they want to win.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely.
We know what they're capable of, if they'll come out, because you look right here, they lost by 13, correct?
Yeah.
Jackson only had 3 points in that game. So that was a very, very slow off game for him. If he can come in and get around that 15-20 where we know he's totally capable of doing, they're right in that ball game, possibly beating Rich.
Right.
I mean, obviously Rich is a great team. They're always good in Rich. They're always tough to beat in Rich. But I just think that our boys, if they will show up and have the intensity and the desire and the will to win, I think they can beat them, if they meet up again.
Yeah.
But it just takes, like we've always been told, and this goes for any team out there, it takes more work and more effort than your opponent.
Yes, it does.
That's all it is, because all these teams have all the talent they need to win.
Yeah.
But championships aren't won with talent.
Right.
So you got to dig in and you got to find out exactly how bad you really do want to win, how far you do want to go in the tournament. And for these seniors, being Strand, Case, and Carson, how do you want to remember your senior year?
Yeah.
Do you want to remember it as like, well, I gave it about 50%, but I didn't feel like we had a chance of winning anyway? Or do you want to change your mindset and be like, look, guys, we have as much talent as any of these other top teams out there. We haven't been showing it. Let's maybe step it up a little. Because in my opinion, they've got what they need to compete with these top 5 ranked teams. That's me. People might think I'm crazy, but I know these kids. I know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
But like you said, the effort they put out in Rich, if they can continue that, I think they would be maybe surprising themselves on how their season could end up.
Oh, definitely. Looking at the Tiger stats, Thomas, 13 points with 2 threes. Strand Giles, 13 points with 1 3. Rocky Rhodes, 12 points. And, I would say even in that game, Rhodes didn't play the greatest. I felt like he had a lot of open opportunities near the rim. He just couldn't get him to go.
He's kind of been struggling with that as of lately.
Yeah. Grell had 5 with 1 3. Carson Curry had 4. And like I said, Olsen had 3 with only 1 3-pointer, which, to me, like you said, is way slow for Olsen.
Yeah.
Looking at the Rich Rebels, Lundgren, he led with 14, but like I said, the Tigers done a lot better job on him. Didn't just let him do whatever he wanted. Actually, put pressure on him. And then Holmes, I felt like Holmes played really well in watching him. 2 threes for him, 12 points. So a really good game.
Well, and he played well up here too.
Yeah. And then Scott had 10 points. And like I said, I don't have the rebounds. Fonsback had 10 with 2 3-pointers. And, I felt like those were some big threes too that he hit. Grohl had 9 with 1 3-pointer. Nilsson had 5 with 1 3-pointer, and Weston came in with 3, and he had a 3-pointer. So, but yeah, it was definitely a lot different game than what we watched.
Yeah,
up
you
here.
could see there was some adjustments from the coaching staff in the game plan going to Rich for sure.
Definitely. The last game on the boys' side I had here was Tavion and Tinnick, and I don't have no stats on that game unless they are uploaded since we started. But yeah, this was just a really good game. It was kind of a really crucial game because Tinnick and Tabby, I think, are right there at the 9 and 10 spot. So if the Tigers might have lost that, it maybe could have switched something up. But the Tigers ended up getting that win 38-36. But the Tigers, they had a pretty good sized lead with
they were up 15 with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean they kind of just let it get away from them,
or maybe 5 somewhere. But yeah, they had a big lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a good sized lead, and next thing you know, it's a game, and it came down to just some good basketball.
Well, and Tinnick ended up hitting some big threes. I think it was Bigler hit one. I think it was the Hansen kid or Condor, one of the two. I mean, they had some big threes, and in that game, Jamison, he was in foul trouble for a lot of the game too, so he didn't see, there's nothing. I was going to say how many minutes he played, but I know he was right around 4 fouls to finish the game, I think, so.
But yeah, but watching that game, it was frustrating because the feed would just kick you out, and then you'd load in, and next thing you know, it would be the third quarter when you was watching the second quarter. So yeah, it was hard. It's not like you could stay fluent with it. You was skipping back and forth. But also in that game, I wanted to put out the Coach Gines hit 600 wins in his career, and I was reading that he is the second coach to do it in all of Utah, but he's the only coach to do it staying at the same school. So he's.
Do you know who the other coach was?
I don't know.
I know George Bruce that used to coach at Dugway's up there somewhere.
But we've got a legend here. When I seen him at church, I was gonna tell him congratulations, but he was talking to everyone else. But
which they were all probably telling him the same thing.
Yeah,
so.
But and the best thing about Coach is he's a pretty humble guy too. I mean, he knows the accomplishment because everybody tells him and lets him know. But I just want to tell you, Coach Gines, you are an idol to how many people.
Many people.
I've always thought this, when Coach Gines finally passes on, they're going to need a really big building.
Yeah.
They might have to take him to the Delta Center. I'm dead serious. I don't think there's a building in this basin that would handle,
Well, and I've said before, one thing about Coach Gines is he taught me a lot aside from basketball.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just when he was there coaching you, yeah, he was teaching you basketball, but I learned a lot of life lessons from him and from Coach Strebel that I still apply to my life today, So people like that don't come around very often, and Coach has always been just a happy person, always willing to talk to you, so yeah, that's a great accomplishment, and from me as well, Coach, congratulations on the 600 wins, and I'm very proud to say that I was able to be a part of that, and as were you.
Mm-hmm.
It's it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, and with that, he sent us some memories on the hardwood.
I have. Before you get into that, I've got a few of the boys' top performances.
Okay.
So first one I wrote down is Jason Hernandez when they played Monument Valley. He had 27 points, 5 threes in that game, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 steals.
Oh dang, we know it.
Yeah,
We already
pretty
know how
common game
Hernandez
for
is.
him. Let's see, we covered Shanoff, Milford. Jackson caught him down at Escalante when they played Whitehorse. All they had were points on there, but he had 29 points with 4 threes. Cash Young for Monticello, they played Dolores, Colorado. He had 20 points with 5 threes. Hagen Jameson playing Vanguard, I'm not sure who that is, but he had 29 in that game. Here's a kid that I think we've mentioned once before, but there just hasn't been a lot on him, and they've played a lot less games, so not a lot to go off of. But I'm going to butcher his name like I did last time, but I'm going to go with Joachim Bikula, maybe. But he had 36 points with 5 threes against Dugway. You may have went over this. Tice Barnes. Did you go over Milford and Monument Valley?
No.
Okay, so Milford played Monument Valley, and Tice Barnes had 24 points, 4 threes, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals.
Oh, so he filled up the stat sheet.
And the last one that I have, Wayne playing Whitehorse. I know you went over that game, or I think maybe we didn't cover that one. Anyway, Hunter Robbins had 21 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
Oh, triple-double.
Yeah, he came in with a triple-double with the blocks. I always like to see the triple-doubles. That's the third one that we've been able to do with Jameson having the 2, and now Hunter Robbins in there. I don't think there's been any other this year. If there was, I didn't catch them, but that'll round out my top performers for the boys for the past week. So yeah, we can go. We only got... No, did Levi? No, we already read Levi's, huh?
No.
About Joy?
Mm-mm.
We didn't?
Mm-mm. No, I have not heard a memory on the hard one from Levi, so you must be dreaming.
No, I'm not dreaming. I've got it here. I just thought we already went over it.
No, sir.
Oh, no, he sent that on February 1st. Okay. So, both of our memories this year come from a couple of Tabby people. Levi Giants being the first. So he says, my memory comes from Joy's freshman year. For those of you that don't know, Joy on the girls' team is Levi's daughter. It was the second game of the year at the 1A preview. I didn't really know what to expect for playing time or if she would be a contributor. We were playing Valley. It was a close game in the fourth quarter and Joy got in. One of our players drove and kicked it to her in the corner for a 3 and she made it. Throughout the fourth, it happened over and over again. She ended up hitting 4 threes in a row, and as a parent, it was so fun to watch all that time in the gym pay off. Which, if you know Levi, that was his game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an all-around game, but Levi could really shoot the ball too. So I've seen those two in the gym quite a bit over the past couple of years that I've been back. So I know there has been some extra time put in as far as working on the shot and everything else. So, and then as we said earlier, he got to watch her last night hit 8 threes and set the new school record. So that is pretty cool for him to be able to watch his daughter kind of follow in his footsteps, I guess you could say, as far as shooting the ball. So.
Definitely.
And then, do you want me to read Coach's as well? So Coach Giants sent the other one in, and he says, the year was 1987. Now, when I read that, Coach, I don't mean to date you here, but I saw that, and I'm like, that's the year I was born. And he says he was in his 5th year of coaching. So he's been around coaching for a minute.
Yeah.
So the year was 87. I was in my 5th year of coaching after coming close to going to state the previous year. We had a good team returning. Some of the players were Wade Rhodes, Brian Lee, Scotty Giants, Darren Thomas, Ryan Jones, and Troy Lazenby. After finishing the regular season tied with Duchesne, we had a playoff game with Duchesne in Altamont. Both teams were good. If you have seen the movie Hoosiers, with all the cars following the team, it was much like that. When we got to the top of the hill on Blue Bench, we looked back and all we could see were headlights for miles. When we came out on the floor to play, the Altamont gym was packed and everyone was pumped for the game. During the game, the lead changed several times. With only a few seconds to go, Wade Rhodes drove the lane and scored as time expired. The crowd went wild and stormed the floor, and we had defeated Duchesne and went to the region tournament in number 1 in the North Division. Now this is my favorite part. Stay tuned next week to find out what happened at the region tournament in 1987.
Perfect.
I like that he's leaving us hanging on the edge, but now we got to hold him to it. And Coach, don't forget to send us what happened at the region tournament in '87.
Yes.
So those are our two memories this week. Memories from the hardwood, or memories on the hardwood. That kind of covers everything. Well, we didn't go over all of the games this week, but we can. Let's see today. We can real quick look forward to the upcoming schedule.
And I think a lot of the schedule now is all going to be pretty much our region, because I know all the Southern region's season's over because they are starting up their tournaments. So
what we've got coming up, it says Wendover and non-varsity opponent. I haven't seen that, so I'm not sure who they're playing. Dugway and St. Joe, Monticello and Monument Valley.
And this is
boys. Sorry, yep, this is boys. On Wednesday, Escalante will go to Wayne. Bryce Valley will go to Panguitch. On Thursday, or let's see, that could be, I don't know what day their region tournament. Is it a 2-day tournament they usually do?
It seems, I guarantee it's this coming weekend. I'm sure it is. It has to be.
So, okay, and then on Thursday, Monument Valley will go to Whitehorse. St. Joe will go to Rich. Water Canyon has a game, but it says to be announced, so there's no opponent listed as of now. Friday, Dugway will go to Utah School for the Deaf and Blind. Wendover will go to St. Joe. Altamont will go to Tinnick. Mount Vernon to Telos. Rich to Manila. Oh, so Manila's going to have two pretty tough back-to-backs because they'll come here and play us on Saturday. So Pinnacle to Monticello, and then another one for Water Canyon that says to be announced. On Saturday, Altamont will go to Wendover. Rich will go to Tinnick.
Times Day.
And then, as we said, Manila will come here to Tabiona.
And then I got the boys pulled up, or the girls pulled up here, sorry. On the girls' end, on Tuesday, the 10th, right?
Yeah, that's the first one.
Monticello will play Monument Valley. Milford will play Paiute. Escalante will play Valley. Rice Valley will play Wayne. Water Canyon will play Panguitch. Wednesday, Green River will play Pinnacle, and that's the only game for that day. Thursday, Monument Valley will play Whitehorse. St. Joe will play Rich. To be announced will play Panguitch.
That's why it says to be announced. Yep. So their region tournament will be Thursday for sure.
And then on Friday, Wendover will play St. Joe. Altamont will play Tinnick. Pinnacle will play Monticello. Rich will play Manila. And to be announced will play Panguitch. So yeah, that's definitely their tournament coming into play there. On Valentine's Day, you got Altamont, Wendover, Rich and Tinnick, and Manila and Tabiona. And I know that will finish, I believe that Manila game is our last home game as well, isn't it?
Well, our girls will play the one game here against whoever, as far as the regular season.
For the regular season, I believe that is senior night. So, if you listen and, a lot of people, they've been watching the broadcast when we watch it, but if you want to, come support the seniors on senior night. That is going to be against Manila. So,
and also they'll be drawing the winner of that pretty cool Tabiona Tiger themed golf cart.
Oh yeah.
So if anybody,
I better go get some more tickets.
Anybody listening wants to get tickets on that, they'll draw at halftime of the boys game for the winner of that golf cart. So, okay, well it looks like that's probably going to round out this week. Yeah, looking forward to next week and.
Yeah,
getting closer and closer to that state tournament.
We've been trying to get the studio done, but I think we're gonna try and maybe get a couple of the Tabiona players to come in and talk with us.
I talked to a couple of them the other day.
So we're looking forward to hearing from some Tabiona Tigers. That isn't us.
And as bad as I hate to say it, I don't know if we're gonna get that studio done in time to do
No,
it this year. We are so close,
We're so close, but
it's just
it takes so much work and time.
Yeah, work and time and money. We're just a couple of poor kids running a little podcast for fun here. So
yeah, if you guys want to start sponsoring us, send us some money.
you want to send it out, get with us after the show. We'll tell you exactly where to send it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just put my Venmo on here. How does that
Yeah,
sound?
there you go.
No, guys, for real though, thank you for following us, continuing to follow us throughout the season. You know, thanks for your support from a lot of you guys outside of Tabiona. That really does mean a lot to us. And yeah, I guess with that said, we'll be back next week and go from there.
Yeah, so thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.